we are starting with a confession from Robert Pattinson. The actor told GQ that he'll occasionally just, make something up during interviews. So in other words, he lies. So what do you think about Pants on Fire Pattinson?
Oh my God, I'm just distracted by him putting his hand through his hair. I'm like truly swooning. Oh my God, he's so handsome. But he's, like, if you think about it, he knows a level of fame that most of us mortals will never, ever experience. And I think he's even more bewildered by this fame than we are. And he knows that we want to know everything about him, even mundane, stupid things. So I think he's just having some fun, just throwing stuff out there that he knows will be written down and taken as gospel and enter sort of the iconography of Robert Pattinson forever. And he's being a bit of a rascal, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, he's doing his job the way I see it. He's an entertainer, and you're supposed to, even in an interview, entertain. And he gives really entertaining interviews. If he's lying, it's still fun. And I'm not sure why we're surprised that people who fake it for a living might fake it in an interview.
But hey,
you interviewed him?
That's an excellent point. But if you guys
interviewed him, it's been so long because he's been famous for so long. I think I was on the set of the first Twilight movie and spoke to him briefly. But he has a reputation of always being weird and wacky energy in his interviews. He's like on Inside Baseball here, but on the circuit of reporters who do this kind of thing and who get to interview actors, he's not the one where you're like, oh no, I don't want to interview him. Like there are some, I mean, exactly. Like it's well known, before an interview with Tommy Lee Jones, you are terrified. You basically want a hole to open up and the earth to suck you in because he's scary and many people consider him mean. Robert Pattinson, nobody goes into an interview with Robert Pattinson not like kind of excited to see what he's going to do.
Lainey, so if you were if you had like a situation with him where this is one of the things he said, that he's working on an invention, like a type of pasta that you can hold in your hands. Now, if you were doing that interview, would you move on to the next question, or would you have some follow-ups? Like, sorry,
no,
like what do you
would
mean?
Follow up. That's an invitation to play.
Yeah,
that's an invitation to play. It's an invitation to play.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, I see what you're saying, like make it more fun. But at the same time, isn't it kind of him saying to you, basically, I have no respect for you? The subtext of what he's doing is I have no respect for this person who's interviewing me. And so I'm going to make them kind of look low-key stupid. Don't you think?
I think that that's taking it personally. Like, I think that, in that situation, when you're a person interviewing a celebrity, it's kind of part of the deal where you're the person who's just kind of invisible and anonymous on the other end of it. So to kind of feel that way takes it personally. Like no one's going out of this interview with Robert Pattinson talking about pasta or not washing his hair, remembering who the interviewer is, or even the outlet who's doing the interview.
Oprah would agree with you. I think that there are maybe different levels to these things, but I think some people who are on air and interviewers take themselves very seriously and take their craft very seriously. And so, again, it depends on the tone. Like if he or somebody like that was making up. So we remember James Frey, he made up a whole novel and he kind of bait and switched things for Oprah, and she was not happy about it.
Yeah,
so I can't imagine
the background was very different.
She was promoting a book to her audience that was sold as a memoir. But like, what's the difference between Robert Pattinson doing his bit, which is making up stories, and the classic Norm Macdonald, who passed away a few months ago, going on talk shows and telling these wild stories and always having a good bit that probably wasn't true, that was greatly exaggerated, but the talk show host from Conan to Fallon. All of them loved it. Martin Short
If
does
you're
the same
in on
thing.
the joke, but that's equal. I hear what you're saying, but I think that's equal. Everyone's in on the joke. Everyone's doing it. But if somebody's leading you down a path and you are naively, as the interviewer, giving them the benefit of the doubt that they are being truthful, you end up looking like, again, if it depends on the tone. I've met people before, we all have, who they have a deadpan kind of humor and they start making stuff up, and out of respect to you initially, you might not know that they're a joker. You might not know initially. And so I just feel like this is a little bit like, I'm not sure how I would feel if I was actually, and I don't think any one of us,
if
we
you
had somebody
don't know,
on our
then
show.
you haven't done your research.
So embarrassed.
I just think
why
that
would you do?
I
Why would you do your
haven't
research on him?
I haven't interviewed him, but, you know, this could be a couple things going on. He doesn't strike me as the most extroverted guy. He's not the George Clooney of the acting world, right? This guy really comes off, at least to me, as a much more like introverted guy who's much more about his art than he is about the other side of art, which is promoting the art. And on the one hand, it could be him having fun and just being like, let's just see what this guy believes. Or it could be just the fact that he knows that there is an unwritten contract, or maybe it's written, that, you know, he has to promote something, and therefore the exchange is, we need something personal from you. So if you're an introverted person and you don't like to share personal stuff, and you think that that part of your job is deeply intrusive and inappropriate, then make up a story that you took out your stalker for dinner. Like, there's a bone to throw. It's like, oh, look over there. And it's like, so he's either having fun with it, or he's so uncomfortable with just the nature of intrusion that some, not all interviewers have. And Lainey, you know this well, sometimes you have one or two questions with the guy. Now, this was different. It was long form. But sometimes if you just have a quick exchange, you got to make it click on both sides. So he could be playing the game, or he could just be like, this is so ridiculous. I'm just going to and this is so awkward for me. So I'm just going to say, I took my stalker out for dinner. Like, okay, mission accomplished.
Those are the times, it's in those short interviews that he's most known to give like the wildest answers. Because in those short interviews, again, this is like how it works. It's 5-minute interviews, boom, 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 40 at a time. And there's only so many ways that you can say, I love this movie and the director and I worked so hard at the role. So I don't want to come back with that stock answer when I'm in that interview room. I want the pasta story and the hair story. To me, that's where I can actually follow up. You know, if you're testing my art and skill as an interviewer, that's where I will have some fun with you. You know, do you want a slippery kind of pasta in your hand, or do you want a kind of tacky pasta? What works better for you?
Al dente, baby.
You haven't
Al
washed your
dente.
hair in a week?
Always.
You know, what's the kind of funk level, you know, before you wash it? I mean, you roll with it, but I think that's when you have to bring it as an interviewer. Anyway, Robert Pattinson, if you're out there watching this, probably not, but since you are promoting the Batman right now, we'd love to have you on the social, and you can talk about whatever you want and lie to our faces. We don't care. Well, I don't anyway. Other people might.